Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the PriestLife YouTube channel. My name is Father Michael Silloway. I'm a priest of the Archdiocese of Atlanta, and I just thought it'd be a great opportunity to use the great media of videos to reach out into the world. I know how much I enjoy YouTube videos, so I thought I'd give my shot at making one. So this will be the first episode of Driving with Father Michael. We'll see how it goes. So I'm right now at my assignment. I'm chaplain at a high school here in Atlanta, and I just figured because my commute back to my place of residence is a couple minutes long, I could take you along for the ride and just share some thoughts. Hope you enjoy. Here we go. So I thought perhaps maybe a good, let me roll up the windows here because wow, other cars make a lot of noise. First video could be on the topic of what is a priest? Why do people become priests? What does it mean to be a priest? What in the world is it? Well, I think just about every major religion in the world has some kind of priestly presence to it. Some kind of person, a figure who takes on the role of the priest. You think back to ancient Judaism. They had priests. They were ones who offered sacrifices in the temple. They were called by God and invited by God to be the ones who offered sacrifice for the people. So they had sins that needed to be forgiven. The people would come to the priest and they would offer like a turtle dove, or they would offer a lamb, or they would offer a heifer. And the priest would sacrifice it at the altar, and the blood, and it was a big mess. And then they would roast the flesh and the offering of that animal. And it was what God had asked of them to do in forming the covenant with them, in his relationship with them. Within Christianity, the idea of priests is similar, not exactly the same. We don't slaughter animals anymore, or ever. It's not a thing. But a Catholic priest in particular is still somebody who offers sacrifice. And he's not sacrificing animals, he's not sacrificing wheat and barley and all kinds of other things you see throughout the Bible, but he's offering the sacrifice that Jesus himself offered. We understand priests to be standing in the person of the greatest priest there ever was, who is Jesus Christ himself. So particularly if you look at the letter to the Hebrews, you see all of this language talking about Jesus as the great high priest, one who is like us in all things but sin, one who offers the sacrifice of himself. He is the final lamb that would ever be slain. Like, think about how John the Baptist in John's gospel calls Jesus the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. How does he do it? He does it by offering himself. And he himself is the priest who offers the sacrifice by saying, I freely lay my life down and no one can take it away from me, and I will raise it up again. So Jesus shows himself to be the priest and the victim, the lamb. It's such a beautiful, beautiful mystery. So a Catholic priest offers the same sacrifice that Jesus offers when he celebrates Mass, which you sometimes hear is called the sacrifice of the Mass, where at the Last Supper, Jesus took bread and wine and said, this is going to be the way that I give myself for you and to you for all of eternity. Remember, Jesus had promised, I will not leave you orphans. I will not abandon you. I will be with you always. Well, how was he going to do that after he ascended to the Father? It was going to be through the celebration of the Eucharist, where his priests would gather and take bread and wine and say the same words that Jesus did and offer Jesus' sacrifice. So that's kind of what a priest is today. Just about certainly every priest in the Catholic Church, their main function, their main duty, and their highest honor is to celebrate the sacrifice of the Mass. And it doesn't happen just on Sundays. I know me and most of the priest brothers that I know celebrate Mass just about every day, if not every day, because that is so core to who and what we are, that we're to be so closely united and to identify with Jesus himself, that we offer his sacrifice for his people, that people can come every day of the week, every week of the year, and receive the grace of the Lord's death and resurrection that saves us from our sin. It's actually pretty cool. Right now, actually, about to come up on the part of the Atlanta I-85 bridge that collapsed. And you may be able to see out the windows where that collapsed road was. I'll highlight it. We're coming up on it. And for those of you who may not know what I'm talking about, we had a big, devastating traffic situation happen about 2-3 months ago, I think. Maybe it was about 2 months ago, where apparently, allegedly, I don't believe all the current story that's out there, but some man lit a chair on fire in a grocery cart, and it caught a whole bunch of construction stuff on fire, and it ended up getting so hot that it weakened the steel beams and destroyed the concrete structure, and the road collapsed. So if you see how dark the pavement is out the windows right now, that's because of the where it was repaved. They repaved so much of 85 as they had all this closed. But here we go. Now I am on the newly built bridge. There it is. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it. And it's whited out my window. But it's so shiny because it's brand new. And we're off. Now we're back to the regular road that was always here. But right back there is where Atlanta burned. Atlanta has a tendency to burn. Lord have mercy. So I thought maybe as I'm talking about priesthood and what it is to kind of be a priest, there's so much to talk about. Thought maybe I could share just a little bit of the highlights of the great gift that priesthood is to me. So I was ordained a priest. I was made a priest in June of 2010 on the 26th, and it was easily one of the greatest days of my life. And I've had many great days, but the day I was ordained a priest was particularly spectacular. See, my own journey to coming to think that I was supposed to become a priest in the first place involved very heavily my grandfather on my mom's side, who when I was a really young kid was ordained a deacon in the Catholic Church. So I would see him proclaiming the gospel. I'd see him baptizing my brothers. He gave me my first Holy Communion. So there's a lot of special significance in my grandfather being a minister, and he made the faith something very real and tangible. So on my priesthood ordination, my first Mass the next day, first time I ever celebrated the sacrifice of the Mass, my grandfather was still with us. May he rest in peace now, but at the time he was still with us and still serving as a deacon. The deacon always proclaims the gospel at a Catholic Mass if there is a deacon present. And my grandfather, when it's time for the gospel, stood up and turned, and it's part of the rite of the Mass that the deacon asked the priest for a blessing. And my grandfather turned to me and said, "Father, give me your blessing." And it was just such a beautiful, powerful moment that I got to, and the priest prays this beautiful prayer, "May the Lord be in your heart and on your lips, that you may proclaim his gospel worthily and well." And then I blessed my grandfather, and then he went off and proclaimed the gospel at my first Mass. It was a very special moment, very special moment. And my priesthood has been filled with a billion of those kind of things, with people I've met along the way, with events I've gotten to take part in. It's just been really an overflowing of goodness. I don't know what else to say, to be perfectly honest. So maybe I'll just give you a time lapse of Atlanta traffic that I'm sitting in, and we'll wrap it up from there. So enjoy the music, enjoy the scenery, enjoy this beautiful sunshine. Hope you all have a great day. Well, that's it. Thanks for riding along. I hope you enjoyed this first episode. If you have an idea for what you might like to see on this channel, I'm open, very much open. Hope you have a good one. God bless. Welcome to the first episode of PriestLife.